Good day everyone! Welcome to my YouTube channel. But before we start our lesson, make sure to always like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click the notification bell for the latest updates in my videos. Now let's start! So our lesson for today is to produce embroidered article. There are two learning outcomes. Learning outcome number 1, use basic tools in embroidery. Basic tools and materials in embroidery are identified. Different embroidery stitches are performed based on the given steps, and proper use of tools is observed. Learning outcome number 2, create embroidered article. Embroidered article is created based on principle and elements of design. Color schemes are applied in creating designs. Design is transferred following the given step, and good working habits are observed. But before we go to the lesson, let's have a pretest first. Identification. Read the statement carefully. Identify what is being asked. Write your answer in your notebook. I will give you time to answer. The art of Philippine embroidery. The embroidery tradition in the Philippines was born in town of Taal, Batangas during the turn of the century. It has been a refined art in society because of its intricate, well-embossed appearance. It belongs to one of the finest arts in the world. The materials used in embroidery are pina and other traditional fabrics. The former is a soft, flexible, and durable fine off-white fabric that is derived from the best mature leaves of the red Spanish variety of pineapple. During the Spanish times, piña was the most expensive fabric for Barong Tagalog on a very rare and special events. In Taal, hand embroideries are described with smooth and even quality of embroidery stitches. Fine, designed with fine, delicate shapes that are not scattered in the entirety of the cloth. Embossed quality giving volume to the design and most of all, durable. Hand embroidery originally starts with a designer called the magdidibuho. He is in the charge of stamping the designs on the cloth to be embroidered. After that, the cloth is then passed to the embroiderer, whom they call the magbuburda, who embroiders the cloth in the place where the stamp is put. Another person does the cut-open portion of the embroidery called the magkakalado. Embroidery is a very remarkable Philippine art, and now it has been associated with many of other native Philippine products that are being exported to almost all parts of the world. We have embroidered abaca bags and embroidered raffia bags that all come in good quality. 100% handmade from the trusted Filipino hands. Aside from the weave banig bags that are also a new trend today, this additional beautification of embroidering has made bags, clutches, hats, and other products look even more good and unique. So for the learning outcome number 2, create embroidered article. Embroidery stitches. There are various embroidery stitches that you can choose from when you do the embroidery work. For you to gain more skill on this line, below are the illustrations of some of the embroidery stitches which will help you guide as you enjoy working on this lovely craft. First, the back stitch. The most often used to outline a design. This stitch also forms the baseline for the embroidery stitches. Number 2, bullion stitch. It is a single detached stitch that is used for filling in a design area. Rows of bullion stitch may also be used for outline a design. It is recommended that one uses a needle with a small eye for ease in pulling. Number 3, chain stitch. One of the more popular stitches used for outlining. When worked in close rows, chain stitches make good stitches for filling the design area. Number 4, cross stitch. Stitch formed by two crossing arms and may be used for outlining, as borders, or to fill in an entire area. Number 5. Feather stitch. A stitch with a loop and stitches evenly work on both the left and right sides of a design area. Number 6. Fishbone. A kind of filling stitch which is ideal for making leaves or feathers. It requires us to divide the pattern into two and each side is filled alternately, giving it a plaited effect in the center, thus ideal to make leaves or feathers. Number 7. French knot. A single detached stitch used primarily to fill a design area. It is a popular stitch among embroiders in that it can be used to create the eyes on an embroidered face or the center of a flower. Number 8. Herringbone stitch. A basic overlapping stitch popular for its use in borders. Number 9. Lazy daisy chain stitch, also called detached chain stitch. This stitch is worked in a circle to resemble the petals of a flower. Number 10. Loop stitch. A very decorative stitch and can be experimented with threads for various colors over the borders. Number 11. Running stitch, considered being the easiest stitch for outlining. Number 12. Satin stitch. A solid filling stitch that is used to cover a design area with long straight stitch work very closely together. Number 13. Split. Done using quite thick threads such as wool. It was used as an outlining stitch or as a filling stitch. Number 14. Seed, also known as rice grain stitch. Stitch uses simple straight stitches in a single direction to fill in patterns. It has shorter stitches above the fabric and longer stitches on the reverse side. Last, stem stitch, basically an outlining stitch. This stitch is usually used for flower stems and outline. It can only be used as a filling. Rows of stem stitch work close together within a shape until it is filled. Principles of design. You can only produce good embroidered articles if you know how to create a good design and use the right color or thread for it. A careful study of the principles of design and strictly following it will help you produce a good design. Always bear in mind that designs are arrangement of line, form, color, and texture to achieve order and beauty. Number 1. Harmony is the law of unity with variety. The repetition of line, form, shape, and size. It can be defined as a pleasing arrangement of parts, whether it be music, poetry, or color. 2. Proportion. It is the feeling of unity created when all parts, sizes, amounts, or numbers relate well with each other. 3. Balance. It is the distribution of the visual weight of objects, colors, texture, and space. There are two kinds of balance. A. Formal balance. Symmetry has equal color, shape, and size on the other side of a design. And letter B. Informal balance. Has unequal proportions. Number 4. Rhythm. It is a smooth related movement. It is created when one or more elements of design are used repeatedly to create a feeling of organized movement. Lastly, number 5, emphasis, is the part of design that catches the viewer's attention. Usually, the artist will make one area stand out by contrasting it with other areas. The area will be different in size, color, texture, and shape, or etc. Elements of design. Number 1. Line. It is a mark with a greater length than width. Lines can be horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, straight or curved, thick or thin. Number 2. Texture. It is the surface quality that can be seen and felt. Texture can be rough or smooth, soft or hard. Color. Color may be cool, warm, bright, or dull. Choosing the right color will greatly affect the appearance of your finished product. A. Primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. B. Secondary colors: colors formed by mixing the primary colors. And C. Tertiary colors, colors formed by mixing a primary and a secondary color. Number 4. Shape is a closed line. Shapes can be geometric, like squares and circles, or organic, like free-form shapes or natural shapes. Shapes are flat and can be expressed length and width. 5. Forms are three-dimensional shapes expressing length, width, and depth. Balls, cylinders, boxes, and triangles are forms. 6. Space is the area between the around objects. Space can also refer to the feeling of depth. In visual art, when we create the feeling or illusion of depth, we call it space. Transferring designs. Ways of transferring designs. Number 1. Hot iron transfer. The easiest method, which is done by removing the excess paper around the design. Place the design on the fabric, then pin at the corners. Make sure your flat iron is at low setting before depressing it over an area of the design. Do not glide the iron over the design. This can ruin the design. 2. Tracing method. Designs may be transferred by using a tracing wheel and preferably a dressmaker's carbon paper. Where no carbon paper of this type is available, ordinary carbon may be used. 3. Stamping. You will need soft-absorbent cloth, indigo kerosene or petroleum, sheets of newspaper, your perforated design, and the fabric on which you want to stamp your design. A perforated pattern of your design is made by pricking holes along the lines of the design. Good working habits. Number 1. Have a clean sewing box with complete sewing tools. 2. Wash your hands before working. 3. Assemble all needed materials. 4. Clip or tie your hair while working so you can see your work. 5. Use the appropriate needle for the right kind of cloth. 6. Put your scraps of clothes and thread in a plastic bag. 7. Use embroidery scissors in cutting the thread, not your teeth. 8. An elbow length of thread is appropriate to use for easier sewing. 9. Work with your hands and not with your lips. 10. Follow the step-by-step procedure. 11. Fold correctly and keep your fabric and plastic after working each day. 12. Clean your working area before leaving the room. Now, let's begin! Identify the word or group of words that best describes the following statement. You may answer it in your notebook. I will give you time to answer. Always remember the basic steps need to be followed while doing any kind of embroidery and can be used for both flat and as well as loop stitches. A. The fabric of trace embroidery design should be firmly fixed in the frame. B. Collect all the appropriate tools and materials required for doing embroidery work. C. Thread the needle with required strands of thread. D. Pull the thread on the upper side of the fabric at the initial point of the design from the back side of the fabric. Attach the end of the thread by a very small knot or hiding the end with the stitches on the back side of the fabric. And E. Make sure your hands are clean and washed so as not to leave stains on the fabric or the thread. Let's apply so that you have learned something by doing this activity. Performance task number 1. To do a fishbone, follow the steps accordingly in this chart. To do a loop stitch, follow the steps accordingly in this chart. Let's evaluate. Evaluate. Identify the following embroidery stitches. Write your answer on a sheet of paper. I will give you time to answer. Performance task number 2. Make your own quarantine craft face mask with a touch of embroidery. Materials needed are cloth face mask, embroidery threads, embroidery hoop, needles, scissors, water erasable pen, and tape measure. Please watch the full video for the step-by-step procedures. Here are the links. And that is it for the lesson today. I hope you learned something. Make sure to always comment, like, share, and subscribe, and always don't forget to click the notification bell to get updated on my latest videos. See you in the next video.